Hello everyone, I'm going to talk to you about British values. It is really important that we understand the British values before we start learning, so that our classroom is safe, so that we feel happy in class, so that we can understand each other, and so that we can make friends. So, I'm going to explain what the British values are, why they are important, and how we can use the British values in our classroom. So firstly, it's important that we understand what a value is. So what do you think? What is a value? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. A value is something that is very important to you. But be careful with this. Maybe your car is very important for you, so you can drive to class. Or maybe your phone is very important to you, so that you can talk to your family. But these are not values. These are items or belongings. You cannot buy a value. Here are my personal values: kindness, respect, honesty, positivity, and trustworthy. I think it is very important that my family and my friends are kind, that they are respectful, that they are honest, that they are positive, and that they are trustworthy. Are these values the same as yours? If you have children, what values do you try to teach them? What do you think? Pause this video now and talk about your values together. Now think about your community. So our communities also have values. We can see these in the way that our neighbours, friends and families behave. So what are the values in your community? Are your neighbours respectful and kind? Do you have freedom in your community? Are there rules or laws in your community? Are there rules in your family? Pause this video now while you think and talk about these questions, but also think about this question. Which values do you think are important in British communities? In Britain, all over the country, there are values that are very important. Britain is a very diverse country, meaning that there are lots of people who live in Britain from different countries, who speak different languages, who have different cultures and religions, who look different, and who live their lives in different ways and have different personal values. Because of this, we have 5 different British values that help everyone to feel safe, respected, comfortable, and important in our country. Do you know the British values? You might know them if you have done the Life in the UK test, or if you have British citizenship. Pause this video now while you think and talk about them. Here are the 4 British values: democracy, rule of law, mutual respect and tolerance, and individual liberty. But what do they mean? So the first British value is democracy. This means that in the UK, everyone's opinion matters. What you think is important. It means that the people who live in the UK can choose what happens in the UK. Because of this, in our community, we can vote for who we want to be our Prime Minister and for who we want our politicians to be. In 2016, there was a referendum where people in the UK voted for Brexit, to leave the European Union. It was their choice. How could we make sure that we have democracy in our classroom? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. In your classroom, there is democracy because your teacher cares what you think. What you think is important. So if you are not happy with your class, or if you have a problem, please tell us and we will help. At the start of your course, we will also make goals for you that make sure this class helps you to get your dream job and meet your personal targets. Have a look at this example. Is this a good example of democracy? In my first ESOL Level 1 class, my new teacher started to teach us about the present perfect tense. My classmates and I had already learnt about this a few times in our Entry 3 class, and I was finding it really boring. I wanted to learn new things that would help me to improve. I told my teacher politely about this, and all of my classmates agreed with me. My teacher understood. She gave us our worksheets early, and then when we finished, she taught us something else. I am so happy that our teacher is listening to us and making the course perfect for us. So what do you think? Is this a good example of democracy? Why or why not? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. And what about this example? After a week in my new Entry 3 class, I realised that the class was not what I was expecting. I wanted a course that would help me with my speaking, but we were only learning about reading and writing. One day after class, I spoke to my teacher about it. She told me that it was not her problem that the class was not what I was expecting. She told me to just enjoy this course because it will be good for me. She then told me that she was busy and asked me to leave the classroom. I wish I could do a different course that would be better for me. So what about this example? Is this a good example of democracy? Why or why not? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. The second British value is rule of law. In the UK, there are laws that make people feel safe and happy in their community. For example, it is illegal to hurt each other or to steal. There are laws that protect women, to protect people from different countries, and to protect people with disabilities so that everyone is equal. You can also marry anyone you want to in the UK and have as many children as you like. We have a very good police force in this country who make sure people follow these laws and stop people from breaking the laws. How could we make sure that we have the rule of law in our classroom? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. In the classroom, it is important to remember these laws so that everyone feels safe, happy and equal during our course. We also have ground rules that we made at the start of the course together to make sure that we are all respectful and that we can learn a lot together. Have a look at this example. Is this a good example of rule of law? Last week, I came to my ESOL class wearing a sari because it was Eid and I wanted to celebrate with my classmates. When they saw me, I could hear two people talking about my clothes. They said they hated it and hated seeing their neighbours wearing traditional clothes. After class, they told me not to wear a sari again, or I would regret it. A few weeks later, my friend said she went to her ESOL class, and when she got home, she could not find her purse. She was sure it was in her bag. Neither of us feel safe in our ESOL classes anymore. So what do you think? Is this a good example of rule of law? Why or why not? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. And what about this example? I love going to my ESOL class. Everyone listens to me carefully when I speak, and we always talk about our countries and traditions. We all love talking about this together because we learn so much. I feel very safe in my classroom. We also created some class rules together at the start of the course, and we all try hard to follow them. So what do you think? Is this a good example of rule of law? Why or why not? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. The third British value is mutual respect and tolerance. In the UK, there are lots of people from lots of different countries, cultures and backgrounds. Think about Oldham, where you live. There are people from Bangladesh, Pakistan, Africa, Europe, South America and other countries. We all look different, have different beliefs and different values. Because of this, to live happily and feel safe and important, we need to understand that we are all different. We all have different beliefs and values, and that is okay. It is important to respect each other's values, beliefs and ideas. We don't need to agree with each other, but we should listen to each other and respect each other. We should not force our opinions and beliefs onto other people. How could we make sure that we have mutual respect and tolerance in our classroom? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. Look around your classroom now, and you will see that everyone is different. During your course, remember that we are all different, that we all have different beliefs and values and ideas, but that is a good thing. You do not need to agree with each other, but respect each other and be kind to each other. Have a look at this example. Is this a good example of mutual respect and tolerance? Today in my ESOL class, I started to talk about my religion because my teacher was asking us about Ramadan. While I was talking, my classmate interrupted me and told me that I was wrong for being a Muslim. I tried to explain that we have different opinions, and he didn't listen. He spoke over me and left the classroom because he was so angry. I am nervous about seeing him again next week, and I don't think I will talk about my religion in class again. So what do you think? Is this a good example of mutual respect and tolerance? Why or why not? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. And what about this example? Yesterday in my ESOL class, I spoke about my children and the values I have been trying to teach them. I have been teaching them to be polite and hardworking. When I had finished, my classmate told me politely that he had different opinions. He doesn't think that children need to be hardworking, and it is more important that they are kind. We discussed this with our other classmates, and we all realised that we have different opinions. We enjoyed learning about each other's opinions and respected each other. We agreed to disagree. So what do you think about this example? Is this a good example of mutual respect and tolerance? Why or why not? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. The fourth and final British value is individual liberty. This means that in the UK, everyone has freedom and can live their life however they want to. You can live anywhere you want to, you can have any job that you would like, you can have as many children as you like, and you can marry anyone that you want to. But of course, we have to remember the rule of law. How could we make sure that we have individual liberty in our classroom? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. Like we said earlier, in our classroom, we should remember that everyone is different and that's okay. Maybe your classmate is wearing their traditional clothes and you have never seen them before. Maybe they talk about their countries a lot, or their religion or their families. Maybe they sound different to you. If we respect and tolerate each other, then we will all have the freedom and individual liberty to learn happily together. We will feel comfortable, relaxed and happy in our classroom, and we will learn a lot together. We will also think about your goals together, and you will write some goals. You can then work towards reaching them, because we all have the freedom to do anything we want to in life. Have a look at this example. Is this a good example of individual liberty? Last week in our ESOL class, we were talking about our dream jobs. I told my teacher that I want to be a doctor, but my classmate told me that I can't do that because I am a woman. She said that women cannot be doctors and they should stay at home to look after their children. When I told her that I don't have children and that I am not married, she was shocked. She told me I should live my life properly, like other women. I am confused now, and I don't know what I should do in the future. So what do you think? Is this a good example of individual liberty? Why or why not? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. And what about this example? At the weekend, I dyed my hair blue because I love bright colours. I was nervous to go to my ESOL class because I thought my classmates might laugh at me. When I went to my class, 2 people told me they liked my hair, and nobody else said anything. I knew that one person didn't like my hair because he looked shocked when he saw me. Well, he smiled at me and asked me what I did at the weekend. I enjoyed my class more than I thought I would. Next week, I might dye my hair pink. So what do you think about this example? Is this a good example of individual liberty? Why or why not? Pause this video now while you think and talk about this. Now that you understand the British values, think about the countries that you were born in. Do they have similar values, or are they very different? Talk to your friends about it now, and pause this video while you talk about it. Here is a very good way to remember the British values. Hold out your left hand and look at your fingers. Each finger is a different British value. Your thumb is democracy, because we can vote yes or no. Your index finger is the rule of law, because the law is something we have to do. If you have children, think about when you are telling them what to do. You might say, you must do this, you must not do that. Your middle finger is tolerance, because it's our tallest finger. You could say that it is pointing to God in the sky and reminds us that people have different beliefs to us, and that's okay. Our ring finger is mutual respect. When some people get married, they have a ring on this finger, and mutual respect is very important when you are married. Your little finger is individual liberty, because you could say this finger is little me, and it reminds us that there are lots of people in this country, but that we are important and have freedom. What do you think about this way of remembering the British values? do you think it will be helpful? Can you think of any other ways to remember the British values?